now let's get to our main topic. The whole reason why we have Jason and Leah here, because you guys really impressed me. We sat down
Thank
for a
you.
one-on-one. I sat down for a one-on-one with a ton of authors at Author Nation, and a lot of authors who were in a lot of different places in their self-publishing career, and sat down with you guys, and you guys were you were doing things that like I tell people that you can aspire to do one day, and it was great. The biggest thing, obviously, and we've already mentioned it, is in-person direct sales. Again, this is something not a lot of authors are either even thinking about that. Maybe it's not even something that they've thought of. And there's a lot of authors who are also like, no, I don't even want to be in front of people. Like,
It
that
can be
sounds
terrifying.
nauseating. Right.
Yeah.
And we can maybe address both of those aspects of it. But I want to start with like how you guys got into doing this. So what gave you the idea to try this? Were you doing it from the beginning? Give me kind of the origin story of how you guys got into doing these cons and so forth, or what sparked the idea.
The answer is I forced Jason into it against as well.
I love it.
Well, I used to do a few in-person events before she forced me into the cons. But
Yeah.
so there's a background. I have a background. Like you say, I have a varied background. There was a point where I was actually a car salesman. I had sales in my training. And what I learned doing car sales was that idea of how not to be the creepy car salesman and actually have fun with it. And then I took that I remember going to my first book signing at I think it was a Hastings book seller. That's no longer here. And I remember, right, seriously. But the lady who had invited me, their chief book buyer, after I was done, I didn't really think about it. I was just doing what I had learned how to do. She said, you are my model book seller. I tell other people to do what you did. And we can get into what I did at that show. But then I'll segue to Leah, how she learned how to do a booth set.
Yeah. So I, as a nerdy kid, kind of grew up in a Japanese family, and I did a lot of origami, and I wanted to figure out how to get rid of it. So I did a lot of craft shows from about 17 to 23 or so. And so it's about 5 years of learning how to set up a really attractive booth and talking to people about what I'm doing and my crafting. And I learned to look at other people's setups and see what resonated with me with, do I feel drawn in to go into that space? Is it clean and organized? Can I understand from a distance what it is? And so when I decided to force Jason into doing book sales at cons, I did so much research and looking up any kind of author book displays and kind of mimicking or improving on. And so I went for the more visualization aspect, and I made Jason do the hard work of actually writing the books and bringing them there. So, but yeah.
Yeah, because I imagine at some of the cons you guys are at, it's not just all authors everywhere.
No, yeah.
Right? It's a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
And so you want to like very clearly signal book, author, right? Like how do you do that? I mean, I'm just, other than like, my first thought is just make a giant physical version of your book that's like 10 feet tall.
I make him dress a giant book outfit and he just walks around. No, I'm kidding. No.
Yeah. One of the things that really stands out to me that to make sure people know your bookseller, and I see people get this wrong a lot, and I actually learned this from Leah, so I'm stealing your tip here, Leah, is elevation. So you need your books to have different levels on your table with maybe a central spot where you can talk to people that's open, with bookshelves so people can see the books. When it's all laying flat, it's flat. So elevation is key.
Yeah.
No, that's a great because I'm envisioning it now. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
If you're walking around, there's going to be a whole bunch of, if you're at a con or something like that, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff trying to grab your attention. And putting those levels and so forth, just like, I imagine you have, even for authors who only had a few books, if you put it on a pedestal, right, you make it's not just, some prop there on the table that you pick up. It becomes, right, something that people can see from afar. That's neat. I know we oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. We even, I think our first con, we only had 2 books, and then we went on to his third. But even with 3 books, I made it so it looked welcoming and plentiful on the table, and it really drew people in. So, yes.
Yeah. So I imagine having a stack of books is probably, obviously, if you have 3 books, you don't just want to have literally 3 books there on the table. You want to have, right, like you said, to make it look plentiful What does that look like? What goes into that to make it inviting as well?
Well, I went to, I think, Lowe's, and I got some tan crates or something, or a gray crate. And I just stacked them facing outward and just lined the books up facing out. So you're looking, and I stacked them on top of each other to create that elevation. I can't words today. Um, e- and so
Elevation, yeah.
thank you.
Elevation, yeah.
And people would just walk by and just basically see a bookshelf of the same books, and they could just reach in and grab one and look through it. And especially when you get the product in the person's hand, it what did Ben Wolf say? It creates that sense of ownership. I believe he said that.
People can touch it and hold it. You can put it in their hand.
Having a booth babe also helps. That's me. I'm kidding. I'm teasing.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
Well, actually, it goes both ways. We talked to another author at Author Nation who was doing in-person events too, and she writes steamy science fiction, I think. And so she has male models come in.
I saw that. That was brilliant.
And dress up as her character, the male characters. So yeah, that's a thing for sure.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know, it gets people's attention. It is what it is. You know.
I'm gonna add one more thing for setups and displays. Backdrops are really important. I have talked to some people, and they don't have anything behind them, and you see the people behind them and people walking through, and having just a simple black backdrop right behind you. It's not that expensive, and it really adds a lot of central focus into what you're about. So
it frames the space and creates legitimacy. So it's really important to have that. And we start off after one of the errors we're correcting now is we had a banner that was horizontal, which left blackness below it. And we're realizing now we need to do a full dress behind us with the full imagery.
Sure. Yeah. And it sounds like these are the type of things that you kind of just like have to like cut your teeth and learn these things the hard way at first. But obviously you sharing it with us now, maybe, you know, folks at home won't have to struggle as much. That's great.
Yeah. If we could save people a little bit of pain, that's great. I'd love to.
Exactly.
So again, if you go to cons, even if you're just attending a con, look around and see what catches your eye and see what inspires you and try to implement that the best you can. I'm still going to cons constantly. And I'm trying to take notes. I take pictures of people's booths, and I wonder how can I incorporate that into what we're doing. So
yeah.
It's interesting. So I had a question about the product that you're bringing. So when you're going to, because I've only done like one book signing, and I had no idea what to bring and how much to bring. So like, how much are you bringing of, say, your actual books? Do you only bring book one? Do you bring all the books? And then do you also have merch or swag or anything that you do as little giveaways? And how much do you plan? How do you decide what you're going to give away and how much you're going to bring for each con? Is there like a math problem you do, or how do you do it?
We've been learning along the way. And we just did this today. We're actually going to Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle here in 2 weeks. And so we looked at what we did last year. We had a really good convention. So we looked at our sales from last year and just want to go a little above that because we actually ran out of books on Sunday, which is a great problem to have and also a horrible problem to have because you have people walking by you could sell to. So we wanted to expand a little bit. So we look at previous sales numbers and we just kind of played with the numbers. We definitely bring all the books because I've been surprised how often people will buy the entire series. And what we'll do is we'll offer a price point, say $20 for a softback book, a trade size, a galley size paperback. But if they buy the entire book, we'll give like a $5 discount on each one. So they get a deal and we get more profit margin. So the idea is just look at how much does each book cost you versus how much you're selling for. One of the biggest pieces of advice we got was we were selling at a too low a price point. So we were told, hey, increase it. No one will even care. And
no one cared.
And we kept selling. So
that's part of the, when folks are at conventions like that, part of what they're doing there is they're there to spend money in some cases as well.
Oh.
And so you have them in a different state than when they're like, you know, in the bookstore, maybe.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So having a higher, I mean, you're going to all this effort, and if you do see the value in your own creative work, you need to be able to demand the price that it deserves. So that's a very good point.
When you're in Author Alley, too, if you happen to be in an Author Alley, even if you're in the regular part of the show, but specifically in Author Alley, the people walking by you are looking to connect personally with authors. They want to be there to talk to you.
Yeah. I'm going to keep jumping in because I will never stop talking unless you ask.
You're good.
Set up the display at home. Do a test run before you get to the show. Make sure you have everything. One thing I have learned as a crafter is always have tools in your kit, most likely pliers and wire. You do not understand how many times you need that when you just don't think of it. Something tears, a little tiny extra sewing kit in case you get a rip in the tablecloth, Velcro tab tie thingies. Just think of little tools, scissors, calculator. We have a whole bunch of Sharpies we bring for signing. And on the note of extra little things to sell, we have not done that yet. We do stickers, but we hand them out as a trade. And we're working on getting little tags to sell or as a free giveaway for audiobooks, which we're just about to get done, hopefully just in time for Emerald City.
Yeah, we're actually really, this is a good plug for BookFunnel. We're really excited. I finally got an audiobook narrated. I was literally just talking to the narrator an hour ago. And we're going to be offering it for sale through the BookFunnel app and those individual codes at Emerald City. So super excited about that.
Yeah. I imagine that's probably the best way to do it in terms of your price point and profitability, because obviously the physical book, I think, is the big draw initially. But then if you can kind of upsell them and be like, well, if you you can just get the paperbacks, or you can get get them in paper and audio, and you can listen to it while you're reading along, and and maybe even some folks would want to do ebook and audio and paperback and bundle that all together. So that's awesome that you guys are doing that. Thank you for the plug, of course.
Yeah.
Well, we've been really happy with it. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm glad it's working out for you.
Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos from BookFunnel, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.